was a kid, one day I was playing with the shaka, with the electrical outlets, and I got an electric shock, right? Now, if you would take my hand and you would put it near a live wire, I'm going to start going like this, with even though I didn't touch it yet, right? Because my body knows what it's like, right? My body knows what it's like to get to get a shock, and I don't want it, right? So I could know lo I could know don't steal in my mind, right? But my body still might do it. But if my body knows lo tignob, I'm not going to steal, right? Understand that? That's so. What we want to get to is, so Chassidut speaks about two things. There's it's kafia, which means self-subjugation, and it hapcha means self-transformation. It kafia means, for example, I wake up in the morning and my mind says, you know what? I'm a Jew. I have to go to shul. I have to daven. Right? My body says, no, I want to sleep. Okay? So it's possible that my mind should, my divine soul should say to the body, listen, we're going to shul. You're coming along. I can practice itkafia. I want to eat this food. It's not kosher. My soul could be strong enough, my divine soul could be strong enough that it's going to say to the body, sorry, we're going to go to a kosher restaurant instead of a non-kosher restaurant, okay? But the body hasn't changed. It was subjugated. It was, fiat datit, okay? It was forced. It was brainwashed, okay, so to speak, okay? Itapcha is that if you would put a piece of food in my mouth that wasn't kosher, my body would throw up. Right? Eretz Yisrael is a holy land. You know that it says, we read it in the Parsha 2 weeks ago, that our behavior here is so critical that if we behave in a way that is tamei, the land will vomit out the people, right? That's why the Knaanim were vomited out by the land, because this land does not tolerate, not instantly, but over time, this land does not tolerate impurity. It's a holy land. So the same thing with the body, with the Nefesh HaBahamit, when it's brought back to the level that it's supposed to be at, the body itself absorbs the light, the divine light, and becomes a willing partner with the divine soul in Torah and Mitzvot. Are you guys related, by the way? B'nei Dodim? No? רק חברות? זהבה, מסכימה? זהב. מסכימה עם כל מה שנאמר? טוב. בוודאי. So, how do you do that? How do you accomplish that, right? So first of all, just know it, you're in it for life. Okay? It's not accomplished overnight, and maybe till the last breath of your life, it'll be a struggle. Okay? You have to know that. So the thing is like this. The Baal Shem Tov says, you are where your mind is. You are where your mind is. Okay? Let's say you're standing in the palace in front of the king, but your mind is in the barn. You know where you are? You're in the barn, right? If you're in the barn and you're thinking about the palace, you're in the palace. Okay? So, we live in this physical world, right? But we could live in this physical world and have consciousness of much higher worlds and what's going on in the higher realms and with the angels, etc., etc. And or we could be anywhere and constantly be thinking about this physical world. Okay? So if you learn to practice hitbonenut, and hitbonenut means deep and frequent meditation. In the process of hitbonenut, you do it often enough, that consciousness becomes engraved in your mind. It actually, just like your baby, as she's learning things, electrical connections are being formed in the mind, right? So even as adults, it's more difficult, but we can do the same thing. When you learn something new, you're making new connections in the mind and so on. And when you think about it a lot, it becomes part of your consciousness. So if you learn to be conscious, of higher realities, so then when you're walking around in this world, you're thinking about higher things instead of about the nonsense that we usually think about. I'll give you an example. את רוצה שאני אביא לה איזה צעצוע?
לא.
לא? אני יכול. יש לנו נכדים,
זה בסדר, נתתי לה פה כל מיני דברים, נראה לי שהיא
עייפה? אוקיי.
בסדר, יכול להיות שאני אצא פשוט.
אם את רוצה, יש לך קצת פרטיות שם, if you want something to cover yourself, בבקשה.
תודה רבה.
So what do you call it? I'll give you an example. I think you've heard this already, Ben. One Erev Shabbat, one Friday, one of the girls who was studying in Tzfat came with a friend of hers to help my wife prepare for Shabbat. And this friend of hers was a stunning beauty, Yefefiyah. So I asked her, do you mind if I ask you a personal question? She said, no. So I asked her, what's it like to be so beautiful? So she said, why are you asking? I said, because I imagine most men, especially, when they see you, they don't realize that you're a person. They just relate to you, to your beauty. She says, you're right. And fortunately, her parents, she said, gave her a good education and she knows how to handle it. Okay? But this is just an example. You're walking in the street, you see people. What do you see? Do you see the person or do you see what they look like? Right? How many times do we walk on the street and we say, oh, this person, and you're judging what kind of person this is just by the way they look. Right? You think that, oh, this person must be a really nice person because look at the way he looks, look at the way she looks. And this person, stay away. It could be that you're totally wrong. It could be the person that you think is the nice person could be the worst person in the world, and the person that you think is not a nice person. And why did you make that decision? Because in your mind you have an image. Somebody who looks like this is like this. Somebody who looks like that is like that. And it's a bunch of nonsense. Right? Okay? So again, what I'm illustrating is that when you look at people, what are you looking at? Are you looking at the eyes? Or are you looking at the way they're dressed? Are you looking at how expensive they're? Are you looking at? Does it say Ralph Lauren? Or does it say Yankel Klein? Whatever it is, and you're making decisions on the basis of worldly chitzoniyot, right? So if you don't train your mind, if you don't train yourself, because over here there's an expression called kfiyat datit. What they mean is religious brainwashing. But the reality is that every time that you open up the television, you're being brainwashed. Every time that you look in the media, you're being brainwashed in a different direction. I think I told you the story. There was this famous rabbi in New York. His name was Rabbi Victor Miller. And he was a very powerful rabbi. I didn't know him. And a friend of mine told me that when he was a young man, a friend of his took him to hear a lecture, and the shul was packed. And then when he finished, they parted a. Come on in. They come here. They so, when he started with a big Miller, did you know him?
Yeah,
I didn't know him.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But
So
I-
my friend says,
He's great.
so he finished his lecture, and they made space for him to walk out. My friend is like 6'4", Shnei meter, and a big guy, and he stands himself in the path in front of Rabbi Miller, and he says, "That was some brainwashing you were doing, shtifat moach, you know." And Rabbi Miller says to him, "And don't you think we have to wash our brains?" Right? There's so much schmutz over there that we got to get, because shtifat moach is like, like I said, you open the television, you're getting all kinds of garbage in there. You look at a magazine. I mean, I would not like to be a girl walking in Times Square with all those images, even after women's liberation. The pictures that are put up there telling women, this is how you have to dress. And if you don't, you're out, Okay? And if you don't,
Right.
okay? So in order to really receive the Torah, not just with my mind, but also with my body, I need my body to be, I need my emotions, I need my body to be clean. And that's the avodah of Sfirat HaOmer. Usfartem lachem, the word usfartem means to count, but it's also related to sapphire. In other words, that your emotions should be perfected so that they reflect the divine light of each attribute.
That's beautiful.
That's not the Rebbe.
It's really beautiful.
It is.
We're learning that.
That's really beautiful.
You're learning at the yeshiva? Great. That's what we've been learning here the last few times. Yeah, you with me, Esther?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah? Very good. Beseder?
So it's like it's Musaf from the inside.
So, now, what do you do? And this is what we learned the other day. What do you do if all this makes a lot of sense, but your heart is like a lev even? It's like a heart of stone. It's just like, okay, very nice, but nothing's changing. Nothing is going into the heart. Kotzker Rebbe said, there's nothing more whole than a broken heart. Okay? A heart that is not broken is not complete. So once I was at a Farbrengen on Purim with Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburg, and he's giving a beautiful talk, and sitting next to him is one of his students, obviously a longtime student, and yeah, okay, b'vakasha, litzchot. And this guy is sitting there, big beard and everything, and you could see on his face that he's bored. Bored, then he's finished speaking, and we started singing. So I hear Rabbi Ginsburg say to him, "So you're bored?" So he said, "Yes." So he said, "Pray that Hashem shouldn't be bored with us." Right? Imagine if, go to shul, we do every day, do the same thing, ho-ham, And God is like saying, hey, anything new? You know, anything worse than life, right? So what do you do if you have a Lev Evan? This is what we were doing the other day, right, Esther?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good review, yeah? So what do you do if it's a Lev Evan? The heart is a heart of stone. So here's where the attribute of Tiferet, which is this week, and today is Tiferet Shabbat Tiferet. Tiferet in Chassidut is understood as Rachmanut, compassion. Pray to have compassion on your soul. Arouse your compassion on your soul. Think about the fact that you have a neshama and that it's lying there buried under this vulgar body that is only interested in self-gratification, and the neshama is barely getting any of my attention. Can you get the door, somebody, please?
No, it was my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay. And the soul is barely getting any attention. So think about it and just imagine that your soul is just saying, please, Shalom, please, can you give me some nourishment? Give me a mitzvah, give me a word of Torah, right? And arouse compassion for your soul. And if you can't do it yourself, which usually we can't. So in the prayer, we say, Avinu Avarachaman Rachem Aleinu, God, you are the master of compassion. Please have compassion on me to have some compassion on my soul. And if that's done sincerely, that's going to happen. It's almost instantaneous if you want it. If you want it. Okay. So now, let's say you do that, right? It's still on the level of Yisrael. It's not yet on the level of, it's still on the level that is the Nefesh Elokit is aroused. But the Nefesh Bahamit is not yet there. The Nefesh Bahamit, okay, so you go to shul, Karel Bachminian, and you had a high davening, right? Davening is over, there's a Kiddush. Everybody get out of my way. That's for me. That's for me. That's for me. It's my kishke, my kugel.
Well, for Kishka, it's understandable. I mean,
Yeah, of course. Right? What happened? It happened that your Nefesh Elokit had a great time. The Nefesh Bahamit, it was subjugated. It stayed in shul. It didn't run out in the middle. But now the food is on the table. Nefesh Bahamit says, "It's my territory." Right? This is about me. Okay? And push, shove, grab, doesn't matter. I want it. Right? So that means that my Nefesh Bahamit had been subjugated, but it wasn't transformed yet. Okay. So how do you transform it? So Dr. Rebbe explains, and we'll read it tomorrow inside, that the whole thing of the lifting of the Omer on the second day of Pesach, that whole service where the Kohen took the Omer, Omer is a measure, the Omer of barley, and lifted it Lifnei Hashem. Okay? And barley is animal food, Machal Behema in the Talmud. It's taking the Nefesh Bahamit and it's lifting it up and reconnecting it with its root and source, and even higher than that. In other words, the point of that service is for the Nefesh Bahamit to realize, wait a minute, here I am in this world, but where do I come from? And what was I before I descended into this world? I was one of those angels that was constantly yearning to be in union with God. Okay? Now, from the lower perspective, we were talking about stealing before. My Nefesh Bahamit wants to take that, and I say, no, it's not right. I'm not going to do it. It's very nice. I'm a big tzaddik. From the higher perspective, right? When you realize, wait a minute, I originated as an angel, as a supernal angel. Can't even imagine taking something that isn't mine. Huh?
We're learning Sukkot, and they give the story about the wise God loves justice, God hates stealing with iniquity,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
then they give the story about the king and his servants and going through the tax collector, and compare that to God, and the king tells the servants that they have to pay, even though they're clearly the king's servants.
Right.
And it's because if the servants pay, then nobody else. Why should anyone else?
If they don't pay, nobody.
If they
else
don't
will.
pay,
Yeah.
if they don't pay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That just shed different light.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're saying is that when the animal soul is reminded of where it's coming from, then it's like, oh, this is who I really am, right? This is my origin. Now that it's had that moment of enlightenment, now comes the counting of the honor, where day by day we're fixing the midot, the sfirot, the emotional attributes in our being, so that my chesed should be the right kind of chesed for the right kinds of things. My love should be for the right kinds of things. And all these emotional attributes are important. They're divine creations. But it could be that I'm in such a fallen state that I love things that are not meant for me to love, and that I hate things that I shouldn't be hating. Okay, and things that I should hate, I don't hate, right? And things that I should love, I don't love. So during these 7 weeks, the service is to what do you call it? To make sure that my physical, my animal soul, my nefesh bahamit, is rectified, is readjusted, so that not only it can broadcast, but rather that it could receive well and then broadcast faithfully, right? Transmit. Okay. And that's the avodah, the counting of the Omer. So today's Tiferet Shabbat Tiferet. I learned a beautiful thing last night in this. I still have a lot to learn about Tiferet. So Tiferet is beauty, right? It's from Rabbi Gopin from Kfar Chabad. It's explaining the midot. So everybody knows that Tiferet is beauty, harmony, balance, right? So there's Chesed, there's kindness, and there's Gevurah, severity, right? And Tiferet is the balance between the two. So let's say, for example, I show you just like this, like one color, right? That's not Tiferet. It's not beauty. You might like the color, but it's not beauty.
What's the difference between Hadar and
That I'm not going to answer right now because I don't have the words for that right now. You mean Hod? Some of them are synonyms and so on, but right now we're talking about Tiferet. Okay, right? On the other hand, if I show you any other solid color, right? This is also not Tiferet, right? It's just one color, right? Chesed is like, for example, just by way of example, Chesed is like, let's say, all white. Gvura is, let's say, all black, okay? And Tiferet is the blending of the two. Everything that you see now, whether you're seeing it in color or whether you're seeing it in black and white, it doesn't matter. What you're seeing is the blending of dark and light, right? It's without that, you wouldn't see anything. You would just see either white or you would see black, okay? It's the balance between the colors. So the Alter Rebbe says, what makes something beautiful is when you have these different colors, and each one has this attribute of humility, that the dark is making space for the light and the light is making space for the dark. Right? You see a painting, no matter, regardless of how many colors it has, okay? What makes it beautiful, what gives it tiferet, is when all the colors are working with each other. But working with each other is an attribute of humility. Mevina?
What's humility?
Anava. Anava v'tzniut. It's an attribute of humility and modesty. It's like, just imagine you're a color, okay? And another color comes into the room, right? What are you doing here? Get out of here, right? Color war in camp, right? Okay? And before our brothers and sisters were kicked out of Gush Katif, right? There was the orange and the blue. So, okay? The orange were the settlers, and the blue was the people kicking them out. So when you have that fight between the colors, right? What you have is, you don't have beauty. You have one's trying to dominate the other. Okay, Tiferet is not. Tiferet is, so to speak, it's tsanua. It doesn't have an identity of its own. It's the product of the humility and the modesty of the other colors mixing with each other.
That's Tiferet?
Yeah.
So, I mean, can we express Tiferet in our
Yeah.
work, or is
Yeah. For example, somebody comes in and if you're thinking of like, oh, take for example, you're a musician, right? And you're playing in a band, right? And this new guy comes and joins the band, right? And he wants all the attention, right? He's playing his instrument in such a way that he's drowning you out. He's this and that. That's not Tiferet. Tiferet is the ability to be who you are meant to be and to make space for everybody else too.
to listen?
And make space, not just to listen, to make space, right? To listen, to make space, and so on. So the beauty of the symphony is only achieved by the humility that each musician has to realize that I, by myself, I'm just one thing. But if I make space and work together with the other musicians, right?
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're out.
Right.
If it's on a good level.
Right.
Yeah. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
That's different. How do you like that?
You nailed it. That's it. But that is
That's
it. That's
it.
it.
That's it.
That's it.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful. And when
And-
it happens, it's unbelievable.
I never understood Tiferet until I read this last night.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's okay. That would be why.
Now, Tiferet comes after Chesed and Gevura.
Gevura is severity.
Gevura is severity and
Is that a
Chesed is
negative?
kindness. It's not negative.
Just
It depends on how it's used.
It's an intensity.
It's an intense. It's right. So it's not negative. It's every attribute depends on how it's
But
used.
it could be like swelling a child because
It could be, but it depends on how you're doing it. Exactly, right?
That's just okay.
So Tiferet, it can only come after Chesed and Gevura because it's the balancing and the blending between Chesed and Gevura, right? You want to make a beautiful painting. Okay. You want to make a beautiful painting, right? Then you have to have some colors to begin with. If there are no colors to begin with, there's nothing, right? In other words, Tiferet, it has to be preceded by the Chesed and the Gevura. It has to be preceded by the positive and the negative. Let's say it has to be preceded by the light and by the shadow. You know, understand? It needs those two things to begin with, but it doesn't have any of its own. Like, okay, we're going to do Tiferet now. Well, what are we going to do? You're not going to do. You're going to be humble. So that's how it comes about.
Right.
Okay? So how did we get into Tiferet all of a sudden? Oh, so we're talking about fixing the midot,
Sapphire.
right? Fixing your midot, fixing your Tiferet. Right? And that's what you were asking. Okay, so what is my avodah in Tiferet?
Avodah is work.
Work. What do I need to do today? What do I need to do today? Right? And the focus of this day is Tiferet, Shabbat Tiferet, is, are you allowing the other person's beauty into your life? Are you encouraging the other person's beauty
While you're maintaining your own.
while you're maintaining your own?
That's it.
Of course, it's not simple.
That's why we're fixing it.
Not simple.
Yeah.
Okay, so tomorrow is
That's
Wednesday.
Hashem, yeah.
So Mr. Shem, tomorrow, Reb David is teaching Nigunim.
Can't make it.
So forgive you.
Okay, so I got to stop here because I have to do some other things. Esther, thank you for taking care of this.
Yeah.
God, it's beautiful.
Please come at 7:15 tonight to make sure that this is going to operate properly. Yeah, you can do that. Okay.